like the snow. Very good isolation. You can hear the silence. Absolutely silent. Staying warm on your feet can be a problem when you're hiking in very cold weather in the winter. You need boots that are well insulated, but you also want them to be easy to walk in, not too heavy and clumsy. So it's a compromise. As long as you work, you walk around, you usually stay pretty warm. But as soon as you sit down like this, you start to get cold, freeze. One way is of course to make a fire. But you can't always have a fire, and even a fire can't keep you warm. You can't sit too close to a fire all the time. You will get cold anyway. One very simple way is to get some insulation from the ground. Much of the cold comes from the ground. And if you have some sort of cell foam pad under the feet like that, it really helps. But obviously you can't sit all the time. You want to move around. And this only works as long as you sit. So there's another way. I use these so-called foot bags. In the bottom I have a piece of cell foam. Just put them over the boot. Really simple, but it really works. They will keep your feet quite warm. Very much thanks to the cell foam pad at the bottom, but also the boots itself. Even if this is very thin cotton, and that is the key to stay warm, to trap air inside and keep it there. You can take off your hiking boots, take on some type of down boots or felt wool boots like this, and have them inside instead of the hiking boot. It's really soft. It's like a moccasin for winter use. You can also walk around in these. But now I think it's time to drink some coffee. Coffee is another way to stay warm. Get something hot inside. But there is another trick if you're going to stay out for the whole day or for a few days. You really want the boots to stay dry. You don't want them to get wet. And in very cold weather, they don't get wet from the outside normally, but from the inside, from your feet, from sweat and moisture that comes from your body. And all that moisture, it gets trapped inside the boot, in the insulation. So the boot will get wet, and that will make your feet cold after a day or two out in the field. And it's really hard to dry the boot. Even if you have a fire, it can take many hours. So the best way is to keep the boots dry from the inside. And the way to do that is to use plastic bags. Yes, I know it sounds odd, but it really works. And the plastic bag goes between the socks, like that. So I have one thin wool sock in the plastic bag and one thick wool sock, like that. And what the plastic bag does is to keep this sock and the boot completely dry, because the moisture from the foot is now trapped inside the plastic bag, and it won't go out to the boot and make it wet. Therefore, the dry boot will keep my feet warm. When you're out for a few days and you can't dry the boot, they will get more and more. They will collect more and more moisture from inside, get more and more wet. And a wet boot is a cold boot. There are boots that has insulation inside that you can remove and dry. But if you have a boot that don't, it's very hard to dry them. If you have a cabin, of course you can dry them, but it takes time. It takes usually a whole night or more to dry a boot completely inside. And if you're out sleeping in tent, you have no possibility to dry the boot. So they will be wet for the whole trip.